Welcome to Toy Business Unboxed, your gateway to the secrets of the toy industry. Here, Jason Shea, a toy entrepreneur and expert in the field.
Every product we develop is really inspired by some of the real life experience that we have with our son.
60% of all toys last year were sold on Amazon, which is incredible.
Be passionate about it because it's a road, it's a journey.
Like when you have an idea that you think is like gonna somewhat change the world, make things better, I'd say go for it.
We'll guide you through the enchanting world of toy design, marketing, and manufacturing. Now let the unboxing begin.
Hi, welcome back to another episode of Toy Business Unboxed. Today's guest is Stefan, a passionate advocate for the power of play. He's also a host for the Spill podcast and award-winning game reviewers and the driving force behind the Spill Foundation, a nonprofit that donates thousands of games to organizations across the world. So thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today.
Thanks so much for asking me, Jason.
Yeah, so first I want to kind of dive into your journey so far. What inspired you to create the nonprofit organization that you're currently running?
Well, we started with the podcast, similar to you here. We've had a long-running podcast. This will be the 20th season for the Spiel podcast. And within a year of starting the podcast, which is a show about board and card games and the people who love them, we realized that we really wanted to kind of have a sister organization that would give back to the community. And within a very short time, we realized that we weren't awesome at business, but we were really passionate about the not-for-profit. So the Spiel podcast sort of became
Okay.
the media network for the foundation and
Mhm.
shifted focus in terms of making everything revolve around the not-for-profit and
Mhm.
focus on the idea that play is such a powerful and positive force and expressing that in a lot of different ways, whether it's through the media and the game award programs or the bundle program donating across the world.
Yeah, and I would love to learn a little bit more about all the different programs that you do as an organization. But can we kind of start out with maybe the world first and how it
Sure,
works?
sure. So as I said, so we have the Spiel podcast and the media network. We cover the world of board and card games through game reviews and our game award programs. We oversee 2 game award programs. The Major Fun
Yeah.
Award was actually started by my dear friend and compatriot Bernie DeKoven almost
Mhm.
40 years ago.
Mhm.
It celebrates games that are great for kids, families, and parties. And then the Spiel of Approval Award goes a little bit higher up the difficulty ladder. So it celebrates games that encourage thoughtful or strategic play.
Yeah.
We evaluate hundreds of games each year and select 10 winners. And then out of those 10 winners, we select one to earn the Meeple Crown, which is an actual physical crown that the winners win at the end of the year. So it's sort of for the game
Yeah.
that most exemplifies the spirit
Mm.
of our award,
Yeah.
to show that, we take our awards seriously, but not too seriously. That felt like the
Yeah.
right way to kind of, cap off each year. So that's the
I
media
see.
and the award program. The kind of
Mhm.
cornerstone of our major efforts out in the community at this point is
Mhm.
our bundle program. We started
Oh,
this
okay.
in 2007. We use our expertise as board game aficionados to
Yeah.
select and sort of cater bundles to organizations in need around the world.
Oh,
We started small in Indianapolis and then
yeah.
Indiana, and then started spreading out from there. And now we send bundles of games anywhere from a hospital to a senior center, to a homeless or domestic violence shelter, library or
Mhm.
school, mental health facilities. Well, we're
Yeah.
trying to start a pilot program with prisons. In
Mhm.
the last 2 years, we've sent over 18,000 games.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I have 20,000 games in my garage and in my basement at this point. That leads me to the last chapter, which
Yeah.
should be the big beginning for us, which is we're looking to buy a building in Indianapolis as a
Mm.
home. It'll
Yeah.
be the DeKoven Center for Play. I actually was out yesterday touring buildings. The building
Mm.
will be part warehouse and part community center, but there's a lot of overlap with hoping to engage and build a community that will wanna help the warehouse grow and help us be able to send even more games and host seminars and be able to show how play is such a powerful thing, whether you're a young one or people our age or older. It's a lifelong endeavor that can be part of anybody's life.
Yeah, I would definitely love to visit once you find a new home.
We're open. You're
Yeah.
welcome anytime.
Yeah. And I know besides that, I was doing some research on the website. You also created documentary.
Yes.
Can you also talk about the documentary you created for
Sure,
the board game
sure. So I have
industry?
a theater and a film background, and so I have a couple documentaries that we've filmed. One is done, made for play,
Mm,
board games and modern industry. We got a
mm.
chance to spend nearly a week at LudoFact, which is one of the
Oh,
world's largest manufacturers of board games in Europe, and
oh, wow. Okay.
basically it functions as kind of like one of those how it's made,
Yeah,
shows where
I
we
see.
really break down all the different aspects of the manufacturing process and kind of demystify that, because I think there's a lot of people,
Mm,
if you love playing and you love games, you don't
yeah.
necessarily connect the dots and understand how involved and how many industrious and creative people there are that
Mm.
are behind every box that you open up and enjoy. And I know that's the same for toys,
Yes,
as
yes,
well,
yes,
to just try
yes.
to give people a better appreciation of how amazing that process is.
For sure, yeah. Thank you for putting together a documentary like that. I will definitely make sure I watch the whole thing. I watched a little bit of it. I haven't
Yep.
haven't finished the whole documentary yet.
I've
But
been working on one. My dear friend and mentor, Bernie DeKoven, was a titan within the world of play and games. And I spent the last year of his life as he was diagnosed with cancer. And we spent a
oh,
year basically setting up a studio and him telling his life story. And I'm hoping that will be out within the next year or so. And that one, I'm really proud of that. And I can't wait for people to see that one
oh,
too.
okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. Definitely share once it's ready. We'll also
For
share
sure.
it to our list and our listener as well. What are some of the like major impact you have been seeing, but through a lot of donation you are doing through the foundation?
One of the things that I realized after we started growing was the amount of impact we could have. Since we're not sending to individuals, we're sending to a library or a boys and girls club, that,
Yeah,
each bundle represents an ability to impact a huge group of people, whether they're kids or adults. And we hear back from a lot of them, not all, but we
yeah.
hear direct feedback, and we've had to adjust the program to some of that feedback over the
Okay.
years, and that's been a very beneficial relationship, to know that they're
Yeah.
valued, and to know, like, a few of the times I've said, "Hey, I have, a couple thousand bundles. Are there people who would want them?" And instantly, I have a request list that's 5 times longer, so I know this is a need that needs to be filled, right? I know that it's valued, and I know that it's having an impact out there. It's not a quantifiable thing where I can certainly check off exactly how many people, but I can, look at, oh, here's the circulation numbers or the population of this little small town, and know how many
Yeah.
people go to this library, and go, well, if that library has access, anybody who uses that library, and that, obviously scales
Mm.
up if you're talking about a big urban area as well. So
Mm.
the reach we have is in the millions. Very gratifying.
For sure. So, yeah, that's definitely definitely making an impact in the society through the effort that you do. So I know for my own toy company, I started the company because of my son. I have some like personal, involvement with my son's autism diagnosis. Was there a personal moment that also shaped your mission with the Spill Foundation?
I can't point to an exact thing, but it was understanding that the knowledge that me and my partner at the time, David Colson, we had this rarefied knowledge, and we understood how much joy and passion that we got through play. And I think everybody's been in a situation, whether it's at a retirement home or senior home, or a hospital, and you see the crappy, copy of Monopoly that looks like it's been run over by a truck. You're like, "Oh my gosh," in many cases, those are kinda captive audiences. And you're like,
Mm,
"That makes me so sad to
mm,
see that that's the selection that they have to look
yeah,
for entertainment." And I'm like, "You know what? That is a
yeah.
problem that we are
Mm,
uniquely suited to solve.
mm,
We could actually do something in a very direct and easy way." And it kind of,
mm,
I guess if I had to think, it's probably me and my pal Dave, looking at that and going, "This is a problem that we can solve, and let's, even if it's just one hospital, or even if it's just
mm,
one senior home, and,
mm,
look at where we are now. Holy crap, it's crazy."
mm. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I know you have been in the board game industry for many decades. Like, how have you seen the industry change over time?
It's really encouraging to see, at least, I'm based here in North America and in Indianapolis, and to see the industry kind of grow. And it's certainly not as mainstream as it could be, but I
Mm,
feel like that's the trajectory that it's on. There's a much
mm,
wider selection of games and a much wider audience that games speak to over the last
yeah.
20 years. And I find that immensely encouraging, especially in terms of, the number of the diversity and the inclusiveness. We have a long way to go, but I think there are many more people at the table, and there's, many more companies and designers thinking in that mindset, and thinking that there should be room at the table for everybody, and we can make games for such a much broader audience of people. If I had to point to one thing, I would think it's probably that.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much for sharing that as well. So, what are some of like the project? I mean, you mentioned about the center that you're currently working on earlier.
Yeah.
What are some of the vision that you have for this new space you're currently trying to acquire?
Well, it's really kind of the thing that will allow the foundation to take the next step. Being a volunteer organization as a not for profit, I joke and say, we put the non and nonprofit a lot of the time. Fundraising is a hard thing to do. And so we will have a small staff of people to be
Yeah.
able to have a community center with a game library that will have a play space that'll be available for seminars and open play when we can. And then we hope to energize that community to also join us in scaling up the bundle program to be able to do. I know right now I'm limited only by my garage and basement. If I had more
Uh,
space, we could probably
yeah.
have 80, 100,000 games to be
Mhm.
able to have an even wider impact. Beyond that, I know that we're actively looking to try to develop a network of volunteers
Mhm.
that will kind of overlay and work in concert with the bundle program. So, let's say we sent games out. You're in Phoenix, right?
Yes.
Let's
Yeah.
say we sent bundles to Phoenix and you're on my volunteer list. It would be, hey, Jason, we just sent a bundle of games to the homeless shelter and
Mm.
the library down the road from you. If you're interested, here's, we'll be the bridge builder between that organization and our volunteers, so that you might be able to go in and teach the staff or run a game night for them, because I don't come in the bundle to be able to teach all the games. And that's
Yeah.
a huge barrier to entry, just even the
Mm.
rules. One thing I probably didn't mention that I should have is that we take the time to punch and bag and prepare all the games, so they arrive ready to play. And
Oh,
that might
okay.
sound like not so big a deal, but when you're dealing with thousands of games, it is
Yeah.
hundreds of hours of extra work. That
Okay.
came out of feedback from hearing back from organizations, and, "Hey, we lost
Mhm.
a piece. Hey, can the game work without this number of cards?" And
Mm.
me realizing these games need to be organized in a way that all the obviously pieces can still get lost, but you wanna send them out into the world in the best possible condition, just like they were
Yeah.
sitting on my shelf, like the one behind me. I send them out in the same condition so that
Mhm,
people
mhm.
can hopefully get the most benefit for the most amount of time.
I see.
Those key elements, I think we'll be able to grow. We also have started an initiative at conventions by allowing designers who might not otherwise be able to be at conventions to demo or
Mm,
show off their new wares, whether it's a very small publisher
mhm.
or incoming designer, being able to provide space for more designers from around the world. We did that at Essen last year, and we
Mhm.
were super happy with the results, and I know we're gonna try to do more and more of that as well.
I see, I see, I see. Yeah, that's an awesome program. And how does that program work? So they send you some demo copy, then you have a staff that's demoing their product on their behalf eventually?
It's a little bit of both. We had, my friend KC in Nigeria. He runs a game company called Nib Card Games and has a game cafe in Nigeria. He couldn't
Mhm.
attend us, and so he airmailed games to my hotel in Germany,
Oh,
and
okay.
then we quickly read up all the games and were able to demo his games. In other cases, I hope with a little more advanced warning, we'll have even more attendees. We had, designers from Brazil and South Africa. Elijah John from South Africa showed off his game Fin Master. So Fagner Da Silva showed off his game House of Wisdom. So I think it'll be a mixed bag. We're happy to put in the
Oh,
time and to demo if people can't be there, but we can also provide the space for people to
It's a
gain that
10 by
demo
10. How
video.
big is that booth space that you
We had a let's see, I think it was a 20-meter by 6 or 7-meter booth, and I think we're gonna go 30-meter by 7-meter. We're basically making it a third again as big
okay,
this
okay.
year, basically so that we have more space because I know that's a I think long term, it would be really cool if we had, like, here's the South Africa table, and we could have different, designers from South Africa. Here's the Nigeria table. Here's the Singapore table. Here's the
Oh,
Taiwan table, and
okay.
just have a constant, wave of
Like
people
different
coming
region.
to play and showing off their stuff.
Oh, okay, okay. And that you just charge a fee to help them to do that, or
Heck no, we're a
you
nonprofit.
don't?
That's
Okay,
that's
but
part of
okay.
our duty,
Yeah,
I think, and our place
yeah.
in the Spieleverse here is to provide services like that. That's something that we can do. We can take the financial hit by having that booth because we also raise awareness and do a little fundraiser over to the side to kinda help pay the bills. But we feel strongly like there are no fees attached to our awards or anything. We don't want any sense of, like, payola or anything. Our goal
Mhm,
is to try to promote play in as many ways as we can, and this is a way from a kind of industry facing
mm.
standpoint that we can help people out that, clearly, need it.
I see. But how can people support you? I know you also have different sponsorship program for people to support your
Yeah.
organization. Can you also mention about different way of people
Sh
considering supporting you as
Sure.
well?
So, I mean, we function kind of a lot like an organization like, NPR or a place like that. So we definitely rely on individual support. And if you go to the spielfoundation.com, there's a big donate button that you can click right through, and we'll be happy and grateful to take your donations. But we
Mhm.
also have corporate sponsorship as well. Throughout
Yeah.
the years, we've had many, many, many different corporate sponsors from Haba to Bezier Games, Greater Than Games. One of our current big sponsors is Calliope Games. They've been a long time
Oh,
supporter of
okay.
us. We have a coffee and tea underwriter, Many Worlds Tavern, that donate money based on their sales to the Spiel Foundation at various points
Mhm,
throughout the year. So we
mhm.
definitely have corporate sponsorship opportunities. You can email me for more information on that as well, and I'll send you
I see. Thank you for
links.
sharing that. And they can also donate their game to you. Are you still accepting the, like, physical game donation?
At the moment, I have to cry uncle because I literally might
You
be
too much.
sleeping on the games if I took any more, and I think Francie, my dear partner in crime, might, kick me out on the street if I took even one more game in. Enough is enough, she says. But, my
I
hope
see.
is that I
Yeah.
mean, the building could happen anytime. Once that
Yeah.
happens, like, back those trucks up. We reserve the right to, like, make sure the game's a good fit for
Yeah,
the
of course,
bundle
of course.
program, of course, but
Yeah,
I'm blown away by the generosity of
I see.
publishers within the industry who wanna work with us and know that we provide, a bridge to a wider world and a wider audience that in
Yeah.
many cases, these games are going into situations and audiences that may not know about, the wonders of what we know about. And
Mhm.
so it allows them to extend their reach and to allow people to have fun that might not otherwise be able to afford their games.
For sure. And usually you accept a brand new booking, right? Not used one, just to be clear.
Yeah, yeah, especially if we're putting it in any kind of,
Mhm.
hospital or healthcare situation.
Yeah. Sure.
That's for kind
Yeah.
of obvious reasons. We
Yes.
do if they're used games, one of the goals is I'm gonna donate the bulk of my personal collection to start the library for the
Oh,
Coven Center for Play, but
yeah.
that's kind of our twist. If somebody has used games, we'd love to accept them and have them as part of the library. If it's,
Library.
the
Okay.
same
Yeah.
title in bulk, sometimes we're able to use them, but in general, if they're very lightly used, we might be able to send them out again, but in general, yes, it's mostly new games.
I see, I see, I see. And I want to kind of take a step back, talk a little bit more about the award program that you have, because you're reviewing so many different games every single year
Yeah.
to give the award. What, in your eyes, like when your community that's reviewing the game, what exactly is the criteria you're looking for? I think this is also an interesting topic for the designer that are creating new game to
Yeah.
see how can they make the game better as well.
I mean, it'll sound a little bit like a dodge, but I mean, it's that ineffable, very slippery thing called fun. right? Hard to
Okay.
define,
Sure.
right? And it can come in so many different forms and have so many
Mm,
different faces. One of the main, we have a review team that they come over every Tuesday, and I cook them a
mm,
dinner, and we play games till the wee hours. And one of the things is to look for something that sets the game apart in some
mm,
major way. There are a lot of games that are wonderful, and but they're all game design is iterative. Every game stands on the shoulders of the next game, but you look
yeah.
for something that has that spark that makes it stand out and
Mm,
different than another game, and that varies so much, Jason, from game to game, and I think it's
true.
the same as, like, saying what makes a great toy. If
Yeah.
if everybody knew the answer to that, it would be a formula that everybody has cracked, and there'd be every toy would
True.
be an
True.
amazing success. So it
Mm,
really comes down to understanding. I feel like very much like a book or a movie or other forms of art, like understanding what the game's trying to say and who the audience is for the game is a really
mm,
important aspect of whether the game you think really sings. And
mm.
especially with like a major fun game, the wider and the more accessible that message and that song is that it can sing, I think the greater the chance is that it's gonna spark that sense of fun and playfulness within the game. With a Spiel of Approval game, it's more about what
Yeah.
hurdles, what mental gymnastics does it make me do? Because that's where the fun of those games comes from, a more mental place where it's a more visceral,
Mm.
instinctual kind of fun that you look for in a major fun.
I see. I see. Thank you for sharing that. And because that sounds like a very time-consuming process to review that many games
I mean,
each
it is,
year.
but you're
Yeah.
playing games, so
Yeah.
there's a
That's
lot of
true.
fun. It's
Yeah.
not it's not a small task to be
Mm.
able to have to constantly be looking at new games and, evaluating them next to the game before and the game after and all the other games that exist, right? But
Mhm.
if I didn't have fun doing it, I certainly wouldn't do it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And as well, kind of wrapping up today's interview, if you have to share one piece of advice with someone that's getting started within the tabletop board game industry, what are some of the advice you'll give them?
Whew. Well, in the current economic climate, I'd say don't be a publisher with the tariffs that have just come down and everything. It's just, I'm weeping by proxy for the American game publishing industry and trying to understand how they're going to navigate the touchy waters, ahead. But I'd say you have to have passion and a sense of playfulness for any endeavor within this industry. And I think that's going to be
Yeah.
the fire. And don't be afraid to ask for help, because I think my experience, having worked in other industries as well, there's always bad actors within, any slice of humanity. But
Mm.
I've been impressed by the amount of support and willingness for other people who may just be, if you're starting down your path into the industry, there are people who, the difference between you and somebody who, like me or you, who've been down the road, is just time and experience, right? And I,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would think you would echo this, that you're more than willing to try to help people avoid the pitfalls that you experienced, right?
100%. That's why we
Ask
do the podcast.
Ask for
Yeah.
help. If you
Yeah.
don't know something, look for resources, because we stand in such a weird place within the industry. I often may not have the answer myself, but I'm able to go, "Hey, talk to this person, talk to that person," and that's very, very, very beneficial too.
Mhm.
I think not being afraid to ask for help, and definitely make sure that it's a sense of passion and playfulness that really is driving you forward. If it's purely about the money,
Mhm.
maybe step back and take a second look, because I
Yeah,
think
it's quite a bit of initial investment to start the business for sure,
and I
and
think
time.
the reward that you're gonna get out of it is gonna be based on that passion and that playfulness, and knowing that you're extending that out into the world as
Mhm.
much as it is lining your pockets and, sitting on a big pile of cash at the end of it.
For sure, for sure, for sure. So, where can people find you online and support you?
So the clearinghouse for the Spiel Foundation is our website, thespielfoundation.com. But if you want to
Mhm.
find out more about our media network and all the different game awards, our two
Mhm.
sister sites are thespiel.net, which has all the listings for our podcasts, and majorfun.com. has the listings for literally decades worth of major fund winners, and we'll tell you all about the history of that award as well.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much. I'll make sure I put it in the show note. And thank you again for your time today to share the wonderful work you're doing with your foundation and the history behind it as well.
Thank you, Jason, for all that you do, and I really appreciate you giving me the chance to talk to you today.
No problem. And thank you for our listener and our audience for tuning in to this episode of Toy Business Unboxed podcast. We hope you have enjoyed today's conversation and find it insightful and inspiring. If you like what you have heard, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. We really appreciate your support. We'd love it if you can leave us a review and share the podcast with your friend and colleague. For more resources, tips, and the latest update within the toys and game industry, visit our website at toy-launch.com. Join the conversation and connect with us on social media using hashtag ToyBusinessUnboxed. We'd love to hear your feedback and suggestions for future episodes. Until next time, keep innovating, keep creating, keep bringing joys to toys. This is Jason Shea signing off on the Toy Business Unboxed podcast. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much, everyone.